I am back in sunny California and I'm in my shop and I got a full house today. We got the 3-rotor car right there. We got Sailor 7 up top and my new 350Z Vert. Driving the car to the shop today, I remember just how excited I am for this build. I've never had a convertible before. I have two major goals while I'm here in California. One of them is getting this monster right here up and running. We are so close. And I wanted to wait until I had a period of time where I was gonna be in California for multiple weeks. 'Cause I don't just want to rush and get it started. I want to be able to get it started, go to the dyno immediately, then go to the track and start testing that car and continuing to build, make changes and improvements from there. I didn't want to just have it running and then be like, oh, by the way, I gotta go now, like I'll be back soon. So I was waiting for the right time where I'd have a good amount of time to be here and really push that build forward. My other goal while I'm here is to get this Vert shredding on the track. So my plan for the new 350Z Vert is very similar to my plan for the Barbie car that's in Florida. I'm going to be keeping it mostly stock, not going to do any crazy power mods right now, okay? I got this car to have another great, reliable seat time car here on the West Coast, just as my Barbie one is on the East Coast. I did want to switch it up a little bit, and that's why I got a Vert instead of another regular Z. I've also never had a convertible before, so I am very much loving this new convertible life. Today, I am tackling getting Angel on this car, and I'm so excited. And for me, I just want to stick with what I know works and what has been amazing for me so far. My setup on the Barbie car is just GK Tech's basic Angel kit, and the fact that it is under $200 right now, and that's why it was so easy for me to be like, yes, I'm getting another 350Z, because I knew that I could make it into another reliable, awesome drift car for way cheaper than any other platform, and it be so good for driver development. I just want to get this car on track as fast as possible. I want to start driving again over here on the West Coast and get some consistent seat time. That is what I am doing today. I'm going to be installing a new Angel kit by GK Tech on the Vert 350Z. Okay, so let's get right into it. I would like to say that I am so stoked that I am officially partnered with GK Tech now, but I didn't start off that way, and I already had their products on the Barbie 350Z, and my mind was blown on how much they could do for the price as well. I already talked about that before, but I'm just reiterating it because I get a lot of the times people asking me, oh, I want to start drifting, what should I do? Already, clearly I'm a huge fan of the 350Z platform to be drifting ASAP and reliably, but also to be able to have parts from GK Tech that are affordable and do the job is crazy. So just for example, the Angel kit that I'm going to be installing today gives you 60 degrees of lock, close to 0 Ackerman, and it's under $200. That's just crazy to me. And that's coming from someone who's been probably overbuilding cars for a while now, and yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying that. Huge shout out and thank you to GK Tech and Officer Dan for getting this kit to me as soon as possible. It's literally just 2 brackets for each side and an outer tie rod, and it comes with 2 different extenders that you can figure out whatever works best for your setup. So I'm just gonna check mine when it's actually on the car, but here it is. The second extender is just like a little bit bigger. 2 brackets, an outer tie rod, and they have boots to the joints if you want to use them. Also, I will be doing this on the floor today because we have a full house and Sailor 7 is occupying the lift. This will be my first time installing the kit, but it is really simple. There's also a really good video on Officer Dan's YouTube, so if you want to check his stuff out as well, go check it out. hour in doing what should have been like a 30-minute, hour max long job. And I was not able to finish this install the other day because I didn't have the OEM ball joint nut to work with this. I just got this car and I didn't realize that the ball joint nut on the bottom that you end up reattaching to secure this bracket right here, the ball joint nut was not OEM. It was this crowned nut that worked and works fine with like a stock setup. However, this nut will not work with this bracket. You need the OEM ones. This is not something that they sell at an Ace Hardware. They don't sell it at your local auto parts store. It is a special order nut from Nissan that is like $50 for 2 of them. Chris and I went all around California. They did not have any at the Nissans locally, and we had to end up ordering them and waiting 2 days to get these. I'd already wanted to have shaken down the car a little bit by now, and I'm going to the track very, very soon. So this is just an example of how something so easy can get prolonged, but I'm here to let you guys know that you need the OEM ball joint nuts so that you can get this ahead of time. That is why it is a different day and we are back here, but we can get this job done now. And with the other bracket off the car, I wanted to show you really quick why this nut wouldn't work. So if you look at the bracket, the clearance to get a socket in there is really tight. So with this nut that was on it, this is like a 22 socket size. You can't get a 22 straight in there to tighten it. If you look at the OEM nut, this is actually a 19 socket. So when it's in there, you are able to fit a socket completely fine, get everything tightened, and finish this install. I'm gonna just hurry up and finish this install because I want to be driving this car already. Okay, now the bracket is on, you can see that the lock stop is hitting the factory one right there. So they tell you that you can shave this down if you want. I'm gonna get the kit on the other side so I can double check clearances on both sides and then make changes from there. Okay, now on to the tie rod extenders. So the kit, like I mentioned earlier in the video, comes with 2 different sizes so you can figure out which one works best with your setup. Based off of the distance here, for my setup, I'm going to put on the longer one. Side is done for now. Like I said, I'm gonna wait until I do the other side to adjust the bump stop just so I can see where it's hitting on the other side. It is honestly really crazy how simple this setup is and how much you get out of it. Filthy. It was really hard this time to get the nut on the ball joint because it had moved up so much. I think part of it might be messed up with the bushing inside, but the other side, that was not a problem. And trying to get leverage like while on the ground was difficult, but between a pry bar and just staying there for a long time, I was able to muscle it back down and get the nut on. So now I'm just gonna hurry up, tighten everything, torque it, and then put on the tie rod extender. But I'm out of breath right now. That was a good like 5-10 minutes of just wrestling with the car. Okay, so we have a slight problem, might not be that big of a deal on the driver's side. So the nut that we were needing for the ball joint, that joint, the rubber piece that kind of like tones down into the seated part of the knuckle right here, that piece, I don't know if you can tell in this lighting, it is, can you see that? Look at that. It is ripped. So the amount of tension that is supposed to be there is not there because it's ripped like that. So it's letting this sit at a slightly different angle. I realized that after testing this bump stop, and the place that it hits here is like really, really high. And I think it's because of that rubber piece right there being messed up, and it's just changing all the geometry ever so slightly. I think we will be okay. I'm gonna put a wheel on and test and see if there's any play, because it might be fine for now and just something I want to put on my to-do list to swap that out. I'm gonna set the toe on the car to just be 1/8 inch out, and then after that I'm gonna see what my clearance is like, and if we are good, I might just take this off completely. The rack is centered, so I'm gonna drop the car and set the toe from there. The wheel has always been a little bit off ever since I got it, so now that I know the rack is centered, I'm gonna go inside the car, try and straighten the wheel, and hopefully that's taken care of, and then I'll finish towing the car. A bit of toe out. It was 73 in the front to 71.5-ish in the rear. So I'm gonna try and even that out on each side and hopefully get it right, but I might have to do this one more time. I'm not that used to towing cars. Hopefully we can get it dialed in with 1 or 2 tries here. Because there is too much toe out in the front, I am basically lengthening the tie rod, which is in the rear, to bring the rear more out so that it's even. So luckily I still have a lot of adjustability here. The toe out is now 3/8, but I want to get that to 1/8 inch toe out. If you guys watch Adam's video, he was always toe plating cars, so he just told me that about 1 flat rotation is about 1/8 of an inch. So I just need to take 1/8 of an inch of the toe out off on each side of the car. The car around for a little bit to see where the steering wheel fell, and it is definitely way better than it was before. It's pretty much center, but before I finalize everything, I'm gonna really quick take the stock bump stops off. Because I don't have rack spacers, I might be able to get away without using anything. I just took this side off. Here it is. I'm having Chris move the wheel back and forth to see if we hit anything. Seem good on this side. Is that where it stops? Okay. I'm gonna drop the car down and drive it around and hopefully we don't have any clearance issues. My camera died, but when I was out there driving around, unfortunately without the stock lock stops on the car, which are these things, the tie rod hits my wheel only on the driver's side. The passenger side is fine. On the driver's side, when I put this stop back in, I realized there's about a thumb width of space between the wheel and where the tie rod hit without this. So in theory, I could just take this and grind it down a tiny bit, you know, maybe like half of what my thumb is. I'm not prepared and I don't have any of my cutting tools at the shop right now. I know, major fail. So I'm just gonna put the stock lock stops back on the car. I already know I have a thumb width of clearance from hitting the actual wheel and the tie rod, so whenever I can, I'll just pop these back out and shave off maybe 1/4 of an inch on each side. Honestly, that's something I can do at the track too. And another thing I could do is if I had spacers, throw like a small 5 or 10 mil spacer on, but I don't have any. And I still have the stock studs in the front too, so that was a limiting factor there. It would just be a lot easier to shave this down when I have the right tool. So that is what I'm going to do, and that's just some info for you guys if you guys are doing this too. All right, so I put the stock bump stops back on each side. I think we are done. I now have the GK Tech angle kit on my Vert 350Z. It took a little bit longer than I expected due to having to find the OEM lower ball joint nut, and I also had to do the alignments, get the toe correct. I had to recenter the rack and reinstall the steering wheel. So there's a few extra things to do, but now I am so much closer to the first track day in this car. I'm gonna be doing the first track day on stock suspension. I think it'll be really good for me to have that comparison before I swap over to BC Racing coilovers like my Barbie 350Z. I'm really gonna love having the same setup on both my cars. It'll be interesting to see how the Vert compares to the regular coupe, but that is the plan. I will be swapping on BC Racing coilovers onto this car, but for now, I'm gonna start on the stock suspension just so I can get to driving sooner than later. But that is it for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.